Let's talk about the basics on how to play Ninetales in Pokemon Unite. Early game, Powder Snow is a cone attack that does damage and slows enemies, and Icy Wind is a line attack that pushes enemies away. At level 4, you can choose Avalanche, where you're going to send out a gust of wind that sets a wall on the map. The initial wind does damage, and when the wall collapses a few seconds later, it does additional damage to everything around where the wall is. The other level 4 option is Dazzling Gleam, where you're going to do a cone attack that stuns all enemies hit for about a second. At level 6, you can choose Blizzard. Blizzard sends out 2 waves. The first wave goes through walls and slows enemies. The second blast hits twice as hard, pushes enemies away from you, and if it hits any wall, it creates a frosty area that continues to do damage around where the wall hits. The other level 6 option is Aurora Veil. You leap a short distance and this circle appears. Anyone inside this circle receives reduced damage, and for Ninetales, you gain boosted attack speed, every one of your auto attacks is boosted, and every one of your auto attacks heals you. Ninetales' Unite move is a giant circle that does damage to all enemies in the circle. It does increase damage to enemies that are frozen, and that freezing brings us to Ninetales' passive. Every 8 seconds, a circle will appear that will explode to do damage and slow the enemy hit. All of Ninetales' moves and boosted attacks fill in a snowflake above the Pokemon. When the snowflake is full, the Pokemon gets stunned and becomes frozen for about a second. And specifically, the boosted attack does additional damage and slows enemy movement speed. So for Ninetales, there's 2 builds that are prevalent. There's the full power build, where you're going to opt into Avalanche and Blizzard, where you're going to be constantly putting up walls and then pushing enemy Pokemon into them. The other build that's popular is going Dazzling Gleam with Aurora Veil. This is a much more auto attack focused build, where you're going to be keeping Pokemon at bay by stunning them and hitting them repeatedly with sustained damage coming from your boosted auto attacks that come from Aurora Veil. If you're asking my opinion, my preferred moveset is Avalanche with Blizzard. I find the damage is very high, and I find that the extra peel that you can give yourself by putting up walls or pushing enemies away gives Ninetales some extra survivability. If you're picking up Ninetales for the first time, you want to hit level 4 as soon as possible, because that is when you are at your strongest. Fight early, fight often, and be consistent, because the more you're attacking enemies consistently, the more they're going to get stunned, and that's going to give your team an advantage in every single fight. Be conscious of the fact that you are going to be a very popular target for every single speedster or all-rounder that can dive. Ninetales has no natural escape, which means that you have to rely on your ability to push enemies away. And that's the basics for how to play Ninetales in Pokemon Unite. If you want to watch another guide, click the video on your screen and it'll take you there. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video.